Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on modifying legal custody. So I did have a previous video where I covered my experience in modifying primary physical custody. There was a full-blown evidentiary hearing after lengthy motion, opposition, and reply were filed. It was a 9-month wait. It was an ordeal. Witnesses were involved. An expert dentist was involved. And this experience I had in modifying legal custody was a completely different experience. I filed a motion and the court granted me sole legal custody without a hearing, just right out of the gate. Sent it to me in the mail. So, I mean, I opened the mail and just like that, order granting sole legal custody, and that's how I got it. Well, I mean, that's the conclusion anyway. So I was going to go over sort of the details as to the bad things my ex did that warranted me getting sole legal custody, but I've covered them so many times in all my previous videos, I don't really feel like I need to right now. What was interesting to me was the research I did on legal custody and what it was, and how it basically pushed me in the direction of asking for sole legal custody. So what I will say is this: after I got primary physical custody, my ex and I still shared joint legal custody. And when you have joint legal custody, you're both involved in legal custodial decisions. These are big picture decisions. These are not day-to-day, you know, what's our son going to eat for lunch on the 14th of October. These are issues like, is our son going to get braces? You know, when is he going to get braces? What school is he going to go to? These are big picture, high issues that can be decided well in advance. These are not day-to-day things. These are things that you have time to think about them and plan them out and make a decision. Well, anyway, what happened at the end was when I would communicate with my ex concerning these appointments. So we got medical, we got optometrists, we got which is vision, we got dental, we got of course all the school issues, the volunteering. Initially, she would communicate in a non-constructive manner. It was argumentative. She just wanted to fight. But later on, she just flat out stopped replying. So I would send emails regarding when he was going to have these appointments, and she would just not reply to him. And one of the issues was the optometrist, which specifically was supposed to be set by her in Reno. And he was supposed to go to the optometrist when he was visiting her in Reno. And she wasn't doing it. And what was worse is she wasn't answering me. She wasn't explaining it. It was just it was just nothing. I was getting nothing back, which was very different. It wasn't usually the experience that I had. So I went ahead and I did the research on legal custody. And to my surprise, it makes a lot of sense, by the way, what the Supreme Court of Nevada has held is that your legal custody rights come with legal custody obligations and duties. And if you are not going to fulfill your legal custody obligations and duties, then you are not entitled to your legal custody rights. You can't get one and not the other. You can't have a bunch of legal custody rights, my parental rights. You can't have all these parental rights and just ignore your parental obligations and duties. That's basically what the case said. So I filed a motion to modify legal custody. I cited that case, stating that she had these legal custody obligations and duties, one of which was to communicate with me concerning legal custody issues. And here's all these emails I sent, and look, she didn't reply to any of them. And so the court read the case that I cited and agreed and granted me sole legal custody without a hearing. The judge just mailed me an order. Just opened the mailbox one day thinking I was going to have a hearing, and it just said order granting sole legal custody, just like that. So going forward, I mean, getting sole legal custody is a really hard thing to do. I can't think of many examples of where you might be able to actually get it, especially not without some kind of hearing and testimony and stuff. But I guess, I mean, one of the best examples of a person who is not fulfilling their legal custody obligations and duties is a person who's just not answering any of your emails. So like if you're trying to set these appointments up and they're just not responding at all, and in my case, my ex was ordered to set the optometrist, so I wasn't allowed. If I tried to set it, it could have been considered a contempt of court, and that's one of the things I actually put in my motion. because of that, I mean, if that's going on in your case, you should be able to get sole legal custody. It's getting in the way of your ability to get your child the care they need. I think a lot of people who don't have a really high conflict child custody style case, they probably have, I don't know, maybe they have a parent who's just not really involved, and they just go ahead and set everything, and it's not an issue. But where in my case, it was really risky for me to do that because I had a very, very high conflict ex, and I mean, I did not want to violate any court orders. I set all the other appointments, but I did not want to touch that optometrist's appointment with a 10-foot pole, not with that language in the court order saying, you know, that she has to set that one and she gets to go to it. I just didn't want to mess with that, and that's why I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ask for sole legal custody. And you might have a different situation, as I mentioned. In your case, you may just decide you're just going to set all this stuff, and your ex might just not care. I still imagine you'll probably get some kind of response if you ask. Like, most people will answer you. Even if they don't agree, they'll at least say, you know, I don't think they should do that, but if you want to do it, whatever. Or they might reply, you know, please move the date to another date or time. You're going to get some kind of answer. Like in my case, to just get no answer at all, nothing, and not be able to get him his optometry care, it was just weird, to say the least. So anyway, that's how I handled it. That's how I got sole legal custody. That's how I modified it. If you have any questions, feel free to put something in the comments below, or send me an email, and with that, I'll go ahead and end this video. Oh wait, before I end the video, I wanted to cover one extra thing you can do in Nevada, and hopefully you can do it in other states too. Sorry about that. I was just about to sign off. There's this really cool thing you can do with sole legal custody. I've seen it done at least once before. When you have a high conflict case and there's just like fights in the waiting rooms and bickering in front of the child, and especially if it's so bad that you've got providers, like a doctor's just saying, we can't take you as a patient anymore, if it's that bad. In Nevada, they have stated in the Rivero v. Rivero case, and hopefully they have something similar in other cases, that the court can split up the legal custody rights. So, for example, the court can say, Mom, you're going to get all legal custody. You're going to get sole legal custody concerning education, and Dad, you're going to get sole legal custody concerning medical care. And this is a great way to diffuse the conflict. I mean, it's a really drastic measure to take, but if you have a case where your ex isn't ignoring you, they're replying to all your messages, they're just blowing up on you, calling you names, picking fights, and then you go to the appointments and they just blow up on you there and cause a scene, this might be the best thing for you to ask for. Instead, you could go to the court and say, you know, why don't you ask the judge, why don't you split up our legal custody rights, because these conflicts are just out of control. I've told you I've seen this happen before. Once with a friend, I was surprised that it happened, but you know what? It works, because once your ex can't go to those appointments, once they no longer have a say, everything's peace and quiet. And yeah, it sucks that now you are excluded from this other legal custody right, but I mean, in a way, if you really think about it, if you don't do that, you're really excluded from everything, because that abusive parent, they don't have a conscience. They're just gonna scare you from going to appointments. And it's not just scare as in, oh, I'm afraid they're gonna hurt me. It's scare as in, I'm afraid I'm gonna embarrass my child. It's like, my poor kid has to be put in that and be ashamed in front of like all these people in a waiting room, and the doctor thinks my parent is a wacko. So it's that's more of the fear you're gonna have. You're gonna just want to not go to anything because you don't want to embarrass your kid, and that's messed up. At the very least, you can be allowed, you can have legal custody in half of these things, knowing that the court will ban her from making appearances. It's better than nothing. So I just wanted to let people know that that was something that you could ask for in Nevada, and hopefully the other states have some kind of similar publication in their case law. I'll go ahead and put a link to the Rivero case in the description below, so you can take a look at that part of the discussion where the Supreme Court says that basically they're just letting the district court know, hey, you can do this. You can give one parent sole legal in this and one parent sole legal in that, and that's perfectly fine and legitimate. And anyway, with that, I'll go ahead and end this video. Hopefully, hopefully you don't have to do that. Hopefully things aren't that bad, but if they are, at least now you know that's an option. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.